Marhaba and hello once again. I am Dr. Jack Dempsey, American historian and writer living in Crete. And with me is my friend Muhammad Ismael, also a writer and historian, a Palestinian and a family man living now in Gaza, a place called Deir el-Bala, which is part of the Gaza territory. He's been imprisoned there for no good reason for 15 years, and his family has lived there for almost 75 since their original dispossession in the village of Shafir at gunpoint in 1948. So Muhammad and I became friends through a book that I published called People of the Sea, a ancient history of links between Minoan Cretans and the people of Gaza, who eventually became known as the Philistines and gave their name, Palestine, to the land. We together, Muhammad and I, work through these programs and other activities to try to keep the discussion of Palestinian issues alive so that people don't forget the daily, weekly suffering that these people are going through. We have many interesting, we think, things to share with you today. But first, I just want to say hello to Muhammad and welcome again. Anything you'd like to share at the beginning?
Hello, brother. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for this new program. I say hello to all the people who are watching us. Thank you, brother.
Okay, well, Mohammed, as many people who've watched some of these earlier programs know, the conditions in Gaza are simply appalling. They expect to feed 12,500 people from every one truck of food and supplies that Israel allows into the Gaza territory every day. There's virtually no clean drinking water. You have to boil it, and if you can drink it then, you're lucky. It destroys people's teeth, their stomachs, their overall health. Shortages of medicines, uptick in the number of cases of COVID because Palestinians are so less vaccinated than the 100% of the Israeli population who've all received their shots. And this is the worst year since at least 2008 for the deaths of Palestinians at the hands of Israeli apartheid. The number right now stands at 139, including 30 children, and that's in the West Bank and Jerusalem, and then another 49 in Gaza because of the bombings last August, making a total of 188 people, 47 of which are children. Compare that with 27, or perhaps it's 29 Israelis who have died in these conflicts. And there have been in the news lately many even videos now of literal executions on the streets in Jenin, in Nablus, in many places where the Israeli army goes in to arrest people and inevitably trouble begins. This kind of unrest fits with the Israeli political scene these days as Mr. Netanyahu prepares to try to put a government together. There is not going to be any more investigation of the Shireen Abu Akleh murder by the Israeli forces, according to both Israel and the United States, whose Secretary of State Blinken says you can expect no changes in American policy, whose money directly supports the existence of Israeli apartheid. Muhammad and I have often agreed that this is not only crime, collective punishment against international law of innocent people, it's a sign of weakness because you don't have to hurt and humiliate and attack and kill people every day of the week if you're not afraid of them. You're afraid of them. You cannot bear the idea of living together by their side. Because of what we're going to talk about today, which is a direct way to help Palestinian families, we always ask first that people think about and actually do contact their own governments, your own government representatives, because that's where the money comes from that keeps Israeli apartheid going. Military aid, financial aid, every other kind of support that should not be there for a system that is a crime against international law. So please take 5 minutes, an email, a telephone call, a letter, and demand that your government change its policy toward the Palestinians because they are people. They are people who matter, and they are beautiful people as well, which we're going to talk about today. But this programmatic dispossession and killing of Palestinian people is inexact complement to the first orders from the Bible God, the God at Mount Sinai, who made his presence known to the early Israelites and told them in number 1 under the code of Deuteronomy, the first order of business is, quote, you must destroy all the places where the nations you dispossess have served their gods. On high mountains, on hills, under any spreading tree, you must tear down their altars, smash their pillars, cut down their sacred poles, set fire to the carved images of their gods, and wipe out their name from that land. This is an agenda that continues today, if you can believe it or not. Those words come from the late Iron Age, and people are still living according to these hideous genocidal dictates that keep Muhammad and his beautiful young family imprisoned in Gaza and every other kind of dispossession that has afflicted the Palestinians. So, Muhammad, forgive me for talking so much, but I want to take us to one other point so that we can talk about your new book, Fedayee, which is a direct speaking back to that agenda of erasing Palestinian history from the land. And we want to talk more clearly about a program that we have started called Family to Family. My wife and I have been fortunate enough to be able to help Muhammad and his family change their living situation from living 5 people in one room to expanding a little bit their house so that there are 3 more livable rooms in it. And we send a little money every month. In the 2 years or so we've known each other, we've sent him maybe $100 a month to buy medicines during his wife's pregnancy. She now has, or they now have beautiful twin young girls, Nina and Dina. They have a 6-year-old son named Jojo. And we've been sending money to buy milk because it's very expensive under the Israeli, Hamas, and oligarchic taxes and price increases that are constantly destroying the ability of ordinary people to live. And as we got to know Muhammad's family, the Ismails, we came to feel that, well, we can do something. But when you run a GoFundMe or some other kind of organization's program for helping the Palestinians, much, if not most of the money ends up in bankers' hands, ends up in the organization's hands, and it never reaches the real people that we're trying to help. So Muhammad and I are offering people a way to get in direct touch with families living in Gaza. He knows them, and he could set you up as a connection via Zoom or whatever you wish to get to know these people as friends. You don't have to trust anybody. All you have to do is talk to them. What do you need? Do you need a bottle of medicine this week? Do you need some clothing? Do you need food supplies for your house? Whatever it might be. And then whatever you are comfortable with sending via Western Union, which is a small percentage for the fee, all the money goes directly to those people. All the money goes directly to those people. I want to repeat, it's not a matter of trusting anyone. First, you become friends, just like Muhammad and I have done, and then you can make your own arrangement to do that in whatever way you wish. So the second half of our family to family project is keeping tabs on Muhammad. And that is to say, let's hear how it's going with your new house construction. At my blog called Jack Dempsey Writer at WordPress.com, Jack Dempsey Writer at WordPress.com, you can see photographs that Muhammad takes of his children helping out and playing among the rooms and the construction that they're doing. And Muhammad, let me at last turn it over to you. Tell us this week, amid these terrible conditions and the great amount of work you're doing, how is it going? What's new on the new building of the house so far?
Yes, brother. In fact, we are making very good progress. We are about to finish the painting of the house. I think we need maybe 5 days or 6 days to finish all the painting. I think after 10 days of now, we are going to install the aluminum windows. After that, maybe by the beginning of January, I think we will make the doors, the entrance of the home, the door. I think we have one external door, and the second one is internal. I think by the middle of Jan, we are going to make the electricity equipment. Yes, so I think everything is going well, and people can watch the progress on your WordPress website.
Yes.
Today you are going to upload new photos, and in the coming few days, I think people will see this progress by their eyes.
That's good. And I'll bet that the children, especially, are excited to think they might have their own room in the house. How are you going to use the three new rooms that you will have? Have you decided yet? I imagine there's lots of
Yeah,
discussion about that.
I have to confess in front of people that in my imagination at first, my eagerness and my hope was only to have two rooms, and the idea of adding a third one was your idea. You told me no, you have to make three rooms, not only two rooms, because you have future. Your children will grow up, and two rooms wouldn't be enough. So I have to confess in front of people that the idea of adding the third room was yours, not mine. Of course, now we are expanding our home from one room to four rooms, the extra three rooms that we are going to add. Of course, one room will be for the guests because right now we are receiving our guests in the room of our neighbors, or sometimes we receive them in the street. We put some chairs, some plastic chairs, and we sit at the side of the street. So one room will be for the guests as a reception room. The second one will be for the twins. And the third one, of course, would be for the handsome boy, Jojo.
Yes. Wait till you
Yeah,
see
yeah.
the pictures of these people. They are so beautiful.
Yes, brother. Yeah.
And I think, though, in your ideas now, Mohammed, that leaves one more room to be decided what you will do with it. You are also going to make some improvements on your kitchen and your bathroom facility, right?
Of course, we are going to have a new kitchen and a new bathroom because the last one was something mixing between the both, was kitchen and bathroom and the store in the same time. So
Yeah.
now we are going to make an independent kitchen and independent bathroom. Uh, our situation will be changed totally. So we are going to grow and to
Oh.
develop from the deepest down to the highest up. And I have to say big thank you to my brother Jack and my sister Angela.
Angela is my wife, by the way. She's the best. She's the best. And she understood instantly, too, that uh, what we want very much to communicate with people who might be listening. I cannot tell you how happy it makes us to know that we can do something direct and concrete and real for helping the Palestinians to have the best possible life while the larger problems remain. It's almost nothing anybody can do these days, it seems anyway, uh, to change their situation under the apartheid government. They are literally prisoners, and they have been for 15 years. So at least we can improve the living standards under which they try to survive every day. As Muhammad has said once before, you finish one meal with your family, and the first thought in your head is, where's the next one going to come from? These are the kinds of harsh realities that we're talking about. So anything that can give Muhammad and his family a little bit of relief and a little bit more, if you will, civilized way of life amid their political struggle. We are for that, and it's just a tremendous, it feels like a gift to us to be able to do something this directly. That's the key, directly from you or us to them. So, Mohammed, it sounds as if somebody is visiting you there. Is that Jojo?
Yes, yes.
Tell him we said marhaba, hello.
Thank you, brother. He's listening you. He's listening and laughing.
Okay, I'll take that. Well, one of the other ways that, as Muhammad has said, when we were buying the milk for feeding the babies in their first months of life, he had a tremendous sense of relief and a tremendous sense of lessening his stress, worrying about how to care for his family. And that, now you lift up your book, Muhammad, that gave him the freedom of spirit to create a new book called Fedayee and the Sea. It's a collection of stories told by people who fled their homes in 1948 and 1967 and into the Palestinian refugee camps, whether it's Gaza, Lebanon, Syria, and so forth. And these are stories of people who used boats to get from one part of the country to a safer part of the country. So, Mohammed, I understand you said you had an event at the local library last week. It was well attended, and you sold 37 copies of the book. And you said this is a very extraordinary beginning for a new book in Gaza. You want to tell us a little about the book and anything else that we should know, and then I'll ask you some more specifics.
Yes, brother. Of course, I have to confess in front of people that you helped me a lot to give me the atmosphere of comfort and rest, to let me have the psychological situation, which helped me to prepare the material of this book and to write this book. In fact, I wrote this book during 5 months, and they were the earliest months of my my twins old. They were 2 months old when I started writing this book. I finished the writing of this book when they became 7 months. In that time, Brother Jack was helping me, and I have to say big thank you for my brother Jack. The book is talking about the people who were enforced to leave their lands and to go to diaspora out of Palestine. Some of them were Muslims, others were Christians. They used to go out of Palestine, leaving their homes, leaving their possessions, leaving their farms, leaving their money, everything. They used to escape by two routes. Some of them used to escape by land through Jordan, through Lebanon, through Syria, and through Sinai Peninsula, while other people used to take the route of the sea, and they used to ride their boats, vessels, and to go by Mediterranean to Northern Africa, to Greece, to Italy, to Turkey, to Cyprus, etc. I am writing this book to speak about the refugees who used to escape by sea. In this book, I used to document some real stories, some testimonies for people who used to flee by sea. Some of them described how their friends died in front of their eyes, whether by the lack of medicine, whether by famine and lack of drinking water, and some of them died in shipwrecks. The book is full of tragedy, unfortunately. And tragedy is something familiar for us as Palestinians,
Yes.
because unfortunately our life is full of tragedies. We have an endless series of tragedies in our life. In this book, before I forget, I document a real story for a Greek captain called Simon Papalazaro. He is from the Greek mainland, from somewhere near to very close to Athens.
Mhm.
This man came to Joppa. It's a Palestinian coastal city. He was about to reach the coast of Joppa, and he was looking like to carry some hundreds of Palestinians to take them out of Palestine and to take them to their refugee, to their maybe in Greece, maybe in Cyprus. I don't know.
Mhm.
When this captain was about to reach the coast of Joppa, the Israeli navy used to foil his ship. So he died, and I think maybe other two or three of his crew also have died. So all the crew and the captain passed away, and the whole ship was foiled and sank in the Mediterranean. The ship was sunk like 3 or 2.5 miles offshore of Joppa. Yes.
And you and I, as historians, are both very interested in the connections between Greece and Gaza or Palestine. And these cooperations and these feelings of family like connections go on, as the story you just related would demonstrate, because that man would not be there trying to help Palestinians get out and to reach safety unless he felt some deep connection with them. And as you say, it's tragic that he died. I was hearing a lecture recently by the great Israeli historian Ilan Pape, and he said too that during the dispossession, as you said with your family history, they come to your house suddenly one day with guns and they say, get up from your dinner table and get out. And that's it right now, or we are going to start shooting and bombing and shelling with artillery your home, your village, your neighborhood. Get out. And it's that simple. But some of them, Popeye documents, had been told that they could come back. They had been told that they could come back when the danger was past. And that is why so many of them left their valuables, their family history, their photographs, their precious objects, old books, carpets, every kind of furnishing or bit of wealth that they might have accrued. They left it there thinking that they were going to be able to come back, and then they were never able to come back, at least not yet. So, Mohammed, this is quite a different take. Usually we hear, let's say, like your family walking from the mid-country Shafir, the village, to Gaza, and your grandfather being born in the bushes by the side of the road because there was no help, there was no medicine, there was no hospital. And your grandfather's name was Jihad. They called him Jihad, one who will struggle for his culture and his way of life. Are there other stories, Mohammed, you'd like to share today that will give people an idea of the kind of people and the kind of struggles that they went through during those times of 1948, 1967?
Let me, brother, make some link between the incident of Papa Lazaro and his ship. I hope to make a link between this incident and an earlier incident took place during the World War II, when some refugees came from Greece by sea also, and they came to Gaza. They took refuge in Gaza, and they lived in a coastal area between Gaza and Deir al-Balah called Nusirat. They
Yeah.
took refuge on the coast of Nusirat, and according to some historians, they were about 60 families, 60 Greek families came to Gaza during World War II, maybe 1941 or 1942. They lived until the end of the war, and after that, they came back and returned to their homeland, Greece. So I have to link between this incident and the incident of Papa Lazaro, which took place in the year 19. So the difference between those two incidents is only about 5 or 6 years. This shows us the strong relationship between Palestine and Greece, and this let us imagine how those nations during wars, during disasters, how they used to go to make solidarity with each others, how Palestinians used to help Greeks, and how Greeks used to help Palestinians. So I think they are one nation, one blood, one tribe, one people. I think we belong to them and they belong to us. We are one nation. I think only the geography which separate between us, but according to our history, we are one nation and we are one origin.
Yes, and you mentioned in an earlier talk that the great Greek writer Nikos Kazantzakis was traveling in Palestine in the 1920s, I believe. And when he arrived, he said something very wonderful. He said, I was offshore in the boat and I could get the aroma, the scent of the land in front of me. And it seemed that I was getting the scent of my ancestors there. You remember that? Well, our bandwidth out of Gaza has always been very poor. They're lucky if they get 8 hours a day of electricity itself. And it looks as though Muhammad has frozen. I don't know if he's fallen offline yet, but this is the kind of condition that we've been working under. One of our earliest videos, we started a little later in the day, and it was getting near 5 p.m. And Muhammad, who must work off of charged batteries because there's no electricity by then, began to get darker and darker in the house, in the room where he was speaking from. And it seemed to us the perfect metaphor for what is going on there, the needlessness of their suffering, their deprivation, and the darkness that has descended on the Palestinian people. So, friends, I think I'm going to end this here because we've heard at least the beginnings of Muhammad's book stories, and we're going to do some more for sure in the next one. Also, a subject in our next program will be archaeology in Gaza and the Gaza territory, how the conflicts with Israel have been affecting the preservation of Gaza's ancient sites. And this goes all the way back to the end of the Minoan era at maybe 1500 or 1300 BC, and the beginnings of an eclectic new kind of civilization founded in what became known as Palestine by the mixture of local Canaanite and other peoples with the people of the sea, the Pulisati, or eventually the Philistines. So on behalf of Muhammad, who I'm afraid we've lost for today, I want to thank you very much, each and every one of you, for tuning in every week. We'll be putting up another program soon with more about Muhammad's new book, Archaeology in Gaza. And please, dear brothers and sisters, contact your own government. Contact your own government and tell them that the policies must change to help the Palestinians climb out of this historical hole that they are in through no fault of their own. Finally, family to family, think about it. We can connect you with directly with Palestinian families who need your help. It might be $5, $10 a month, if that, to get them the kinds of medicine or nourishment or other assistance that they need. It's quite a desperate situation, but you can make a difference, and your money will not go to organizations. It will not go to banks. It will go directly to the Palestinian families living in Gaza. So thank you very much, everyone, and we'll see you next time. Peace.